Yo, chat. Hey, let me know if I sound good. Let's not make this awkward, okay? Just give me a one in the chat. I see a couple ones. We gonna get this thing rolling, man. Get these videos pulled up. Oh my goodness, I should have worn my Green Bay Sucks sweatshirt. What am I doing? Dude, out of all the days, I'm not even wearing it. All right, let's get this thing going. Let's get this going, chat. We got a lot of things to dive into, man. A lot to discuss. We're live. I'm wearing a Texas shirt. At least we're not playing Houston. You know what I mean? This is going to work. All right. As long as it stays good. I got to, we got to check. We got to make sure because, they'll have at least one where it turns off for a second and then, But we're good for now. Chat, how we doing? We're live. This live stream is being brought to you, as always, by BetUS, YouTube 150. Code is in the description, YouTube 150. 150% deposit match, first deposit, 125% your next two up to $2,000. Shout out to BetUS. They actually sent me this video. I hope this doesn't have audio. Well, it can have audio as long as it's not copyright. But they actually sent me a couple videos today, and it's like 15 seconds. But I thought it was kind of cool. Like, the graphic looked fun. So I'm going to play this. It's like 15 seconds. Check this out. Oh, my goodness. I'm behind it. Wait a minute. What? So there's wait,
Michael Vick here.
Don't play that. My bad. I didn't know it was gonna play like that. I thought it was gonna cut through the video. I didn't know it was gonna do that. All right, we're fine. It's fine. Time to dine on some fresh shredded cheese. I see you. Yeah, man. I looked up the history of the Packers, and right, it was like a. Wait, what was it? It was like a business, right? They were Packer. They were legitimately Packers. Like, that's kind of lame. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it is what it is, however it works. Go put the Green Bay Packers Sucks shirt on for good luck. I'll put it on for the game. It's really hot right now, so it actually probably isn't the move. I got this heater right next to me. I got to turn that thing off and give it like a second. I'll be sweating big time. So I'll put it on for the game when we're live during the game. Man, today... And by the way, that little thing that I showed there, I think that's an interesting one. That was why I showed that. When I had a couple videos like that, I thought that betting line specifically was super interesting. They're boosting the odds on both teams scoring 25 plus. I think that makes a ton of sense. I think that's going to happen. Now, that being said, here's the one flip side to that before we get into this. Would not shock me again if this is a very fast game. I mean, Green Bay's ran the ball incredibly well. They absolutely could lean into that again this game. That's what they've done this year. They average about 150 yards per game. They're a big rushing team. They love Josh Jacobs, and an alliance with where their defensive line at might think the exact same thing. Like, let's run it. Let's run the ball. And the Packers recently have played with the lead, so it's been different than what has been issues at times this season. They've constantly played with the lead. Jordan Love's not turning the ball over. That's obviously huge for them. Last couple games hasn't turned the ball over. That's been the case all the way up to the last two games this season. Every game he had an interception. So it makes sense that both teams would be like, let's run the football. Let's make this game short. That being said, I'm still going both teams over 25. I still like that number. So I thought that was a cool graphic. Today, man, we got the news of a couple players that were elevated. Now, I'll be honest. The NFL uses these code words. All right. They use like these code phrases and they confuse me because I was putting the graphics together and I'm reading this like, wait a minute. Does this even mean what I think it means? Like, does this actually mean that the guys can play, or does this not? Like, we don't have the inactive list yet, I don't think, unless they've already sent them out. I haven't seen it yet though, so we'll get to that when we get to that. We know who's out for the most part, but outside of that, it's like, okay, just ensure us that Carlton's playing, right? What about Mosley? And are any of their healthy scratches? Like, there's definitely going to be healthy scratches. I'm kind of curious to see where that goes with the linebacker position. Quan Alexander, is he active? How does that kind of look? I want to see with, of course, the two new additions. Miles Adams, is he going to be active? The defensive tackle, I think it makes a ton of sense. Jonah Williams, is he going to be active? So that's the big thing there. It's not injury related, but it's just to see like they haven't been here long if they're already active. But before we get to any of that, I want to go to this graphic because this kind of lays it out. And then I also brought clips. Y'all know how we do. I brought clips because I wanted to talk about a couple of guys that might be playing a lot for us tonight. That's kind of the way that it's looking. I may be wrong, but it's kind of the way that it's possible these guys are going to have a big impact tonight. And we never really talk about these dudes, so I want to give them some spotlight. I want to give them some attention because this could be a big game for them. Like, for example, last time we played Green Bay, 10 snapper Chris Smith. Doesn't look like he's going to be up this week, because he's still in the practice squad, so no Chris Smith this week. But he was impactful. He was important in that game. So today I wanted to shine some light on some of those players that might be really impactful today. If AG holds him to less than 24, give him Assistant of the Year. Facts. Is that an award? Who is your number one key player on defense tonight? That's a good question. My number one key player, you know what? I don't want to use this as a boring answer because we haven't got to my players to watch yet, but immediately he's on there is Zadarius Smith. I don't want to go to Zadarius though, but to me, it's got to be him or you could pick a cornerback. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, hold up. Here's the thing. You know what? I put 5 players on my players to watch. I don't want to name them all off. Okay, I'm going to roll Zadarius Smith, Ed. I'll put Zadarius Smith because he's going to be involved in the run game. And if you watched last time I played this team, all but one of their 10-plus yard runs was the edge defender position, not making the play. And then outside of that, can he give us a little bit of juice as a pass rusher? We know he lines on the inside, so if we get him in those spots, he needs to help us. This is a team that's done really well when blitzed recently, but the Lions didn't blitz them much last time they played them. So if they continue to hold back, someone's got to get after it. Now, Lee McNeil also had a big game, but also playing his former team, like I got to put Zadarius on here. All right, so I'll say Zadarius for now. We'll get to the other 4 I have, or 3 or 4, but I appreciate you, Ed. Shout out to Ed. Can we get some birthday cakes in the chat for Ed showing some love with the $4.99? Hey, honestly, also I want to give a shout out to Ed here too. It's not just Ed, but I be seeing y'all in there. It's not just Ed, but y'all that be showing up for the Bleacher Report post games, I appreciate y'all. Especially, my man V Coke, my guys that be showing up on Wednesdays. What? Hey, y'all are next level for that. I appreciate that, man. Y'all showing the love right after. Because when the chat's interacting, it's a little bit easier. Like this, when the chat's dead, it's a little bit more difficult. It kind of feels like I'm doing a video, so it is nice when the chat's interacting. I appreciate that. Decker's most important player. Man, I don't even want to talk about that one. You know what, El Tony? We don't even need to talk about that. But I will say, I thought they were pretty good last week, and I think Skipper played, in my opinion, this is kind of, it's difficult because it's not a huge sample size, and it's also always spaced out, but I think that was the best game I've seen Dan Skipper play, was last week. I thought he was fantastic last week, so hopefully he puts that back together this week. Now, I think Green Bay has better players up front. I do. Van Ness has come on lately, and Rashawn Gary's a stud. I mean, they're loaded with first-round picks on their front. Slayton's played well. Colby Wooden's come to life. Carl Brooks has always been impactful, really, since he's got a league for them. But I would say that this is a better front in general. Sweat's a good player. He had a couple wins last week, but outside of that, it's kind of just like, all right, who's that guy, right? I mean, to be honest, that's kind of how it is. But, yeah, I think this is a tougher front this week. So we'll see how he plays, because I would assume he's going to stay at left tackle this week. That would be my assumption, but maybe not. Maybe they flip it. But if he stays at left, Rashawn Gary and Sewell might be more the matchup. So he might have his opportunity against the former first-round pick, and that's going to be a lot of fun to see how that plays out. Hopefully it plays out well, and it actually is fun. It's not this guy's getting torched. Hopefully that's not the case. We'll give him some help. But let's start here at the top, because we have clips for this, man. And I wanted to start here because some of this is surprising. First off, the Lions have elevated Mitchell Agude. I wouldn't say that's a surprise. Does. Oh, no, it is Dose. Dose, you just got to know that Z Smith is definitely happy he's playing his old team. Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. He needs to go crazy tonight. Motown Mitch, I see you with the birthday cake. All right, so yeah, we elevated Agude. I wouldn't say this is a shock, really. I mean, looking at our practice squad, these guys have performed in the preseason. We're going to show some clips here. Agude is interesting because 6'4", I think he's 6'4", 240, 6'5", 240. He's got that outside linebacker build. The Lions list him as an outside linebacker, but he kind of plays edge for us. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see how many snaps a guy like Trevor Nowaski gets, because he's typically the Sam of this defense. And the Green Bay Packers will play tight ends. They love to play tight ends. They got no issues with it. I mean, they'll bounce 12 personnel. They'll bounce, multiple running backs. They'll play a fullback. So they'll play a little bit heavier. That being said, does Mitchell Agude take some snaps from a guy like Trevor at that position? I think it's on the table. I'm really intrigued to see that, because this isn't like I don't think that he necessarily couldn't play like the Josh Paschal type of role. That could be how their Lions are looking at this. Like, hey, he's elevated for that. He's going to help us as like kind of the big DN. But honestly, and that's where Jonah Williams, is he active? That kind of thing plays into it. But Agude, if he's getting snaps, I'm fired up to see how we use him, because I don't want to go out too far on a limb here, but I do see there being because Muhammad's kind of the passer specialist, right? I do see there being a world in which he plays a lot more than expected tonight. He takes some of Trevor's snaps in that role, and that we're talking away from this, like, you know what? He impacted the game a little bit more than what we've gotten out of that positional group. Like, for example, Trevor, I like Trevor. He's very adequate against the run, I think. He definitely is nice in coverage drops, but he doesn't do that very much. He essentially does nothing as a pass rusher. And that's no hate to Trevor, because he does more than kind of what everybody else would do at that spot. But he basically, I went through every snap that he had last week against Chicago to watch him. Every pass rush looked exactly the same. He probably had 20, maybe not 20, 15 to 20 pass rush reps. They literally all looked the same. He never beat the left tackle, Braxton Jones. And I could see walking away from that like, Ogude could give us a little more juice here. Now, I'm not saying Ogude is a great pass rusher. I think he brings more as a run defender to this game. And that's what we're going to need because, as mentioned, like last time we played this team, whether that was James Houston, it was Muhammad, like we were giving up big runs because we couldn't handle gaps on the outside. And bam, Josh, if you know Josh Jacobs, he's a big cutback guy. So boom, they would pop out of things, big play. So we're going to need him for that. But I also wonder a little bit for a guy like Ogude who has shown some real flexibility. The Lions are looking at it like, hey, he might get more snaps than we expect tonight. And going forward, he might get more snaps than we expect. Then also we've elevated. Now this is where it's weird because both these guys were listed as elevated, active/inactive. I'm going to be honest, man. I don't know what that means. I assume that means that they could be active or inactive tonight, and then we just kind of wait for the active and inactive list because they were added to that list. So I guess we just don't know officially until the Lions list out who's active or inactive. But if you're going to elevate them out the practice squad, which you can do too, I don't know why they wouldn't be active, right? If you're going to elevate them, then not have them active, that doesn't make any sense. So my assumption would be that they're both going to be active. And that doesn't mean they're going to play necessarily, but that'd be my assumption. So Jamal Adams was also listed here. Now, the other guys on the active roster, they don't need to be in this category. But Jamal Adams was on the practice squad, and he's now on the active roster. Or, excuse me, he's elevated for this game. Jamal Adams might be playing tonight. And first off, that just surprised me in general because I'm a little bit shocked that he's playing. I didn't think he'd be playing this fast. Number two, how are they going to use him? That's the fun part. I think I know how they're going to use him. I have a good vibe, but I do wonder with Glenn a little bit because he's creative and what they've looked for from that will backer position. If they were like, hey, maybe we just sprinkle him in a few times on 1st and 10 as our will linebacker. Like, let's just see what it looks like. I'm not counting that out because, to be honest, in terms of like, being able to take on blockers, what we have there with David Long isn't great anyway. He's slippery, but he doesn't take on blockers at all. So is there a world in which he's like, you know what, let's just try it. Let's give like 3 snaps in that spot. I'm interested. I think that's on the table. And then we signed Maurice Alexander because we need a punt returner. Dose, any thoughts about Josh Reynolds' availability? So here was my thought. I'd love to bring him back. And if this was Madden, I'd bring him back. I put him on the practice squad. We got Peoples-Jones on the practice squad right now. I'd feel good about that. More than Peoples-Jones, of course. And even if he never plays, that's fine, I guess. But he could absolutely be a huge part of this team. And we're good at receiver right now, but I'm never against doing things like that. That being said, my assumption would be that Josh wouldn't want to come back. I don't know Josh. Maybe he's like, I do want to come back. If Josh wants to come back, bring him back. You know what I mean? Bring him to practice squad. If he wants to be here, let's go for it. My thought would be he probably doesn't want to. It is a two-way street, and he might just be looking for work, but he also may not be. He did have a legit contract. He also could just be looked at it like, hey, I don't want to go back there because we had heard, unless Brad was lying, Brad told us like they were trying to get this guy back. So unless they were just like, oh, we're not offering you any money, here's the league minimum, which I doubt that because he didn't make much at all. My guess would be that he probably just doesn't want to come back, and I don't think he'd want to come back on our practice squad if he didn't want to re-sign here, even though the Lions may have interest in the player. Now, maybe they mend that and they're like, hey, bring him back. He's good now. But my thought would be that he probably doesn't get brought back, and that's because it's a two-way street. So that's my guess on it. I would have no issue, though, if it went down. If it went down, he came back tonight, or not tonight, I'm sorry, just in general, be fired up. I think this is how we're going to use Jamal. I think that's absolutely how they're going to use him. It's the safest way to use him, but also it allows them to let him play underneath. And I think the more he's underneath, the better. I think the more you start asking him to play as a split safety, you could get more hit and miss results. Doesn't mean he can't do it, but I'd like to see him work a little bit more underneath. Now, I don't think he's the matchup piece. I've said that. I don't think he's the matchup. I don't think you put him on a tight end. It's like he's the tight end stopper, but I think he's very capable in that role. And I think he's much better in that role than, say, asking him to do what Brian Branch does, where it's like, hey, Brian Branch sometimes as a safety will step down and cover your slot. Like, I don't want him doing that much. I'd want him closer to the line. I want him sniffing out screens. I want him stepping on to play the run as an extra run support, as a safety. And if it's 3rd and 8, instead of putting 2 backers, I'll put 1 backer. We'll go dime. We'll put him in that spot. Like, that's how I for sure think they're going to use him. I just wonder if it'll expand beyond that and get to the point where they try him a little bit as like a pure linebacker. Isn't he with Jacksonville? Josh Reynolds? He might be. I don't know. I know I heard that he was let go by Denver, but maybe he did get picked up by Jacksonville. That's very possible. I have no idea. Honestly, I haven't kept up with it. I haven't kept up with it at all because I don't think he'd come back. I just don't think he would do that because I think he would have re-signed with us in the offseason if that was the case because I do think the Lions would have loved to have him back. And that's all the things that we were told. It was weird. That was like one of those that I was pretty confident he's going to be back, and then he wasn't brought back. So it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on. All right, let's go to some of these clips, though, just to highlight those two players real quick. And I went back. I had to go back to the preseason because they really haven't played for us in the regular season. Now, it is kind of fun in a way. Like, in a way, this is kind of like, you know what I thought? I thought watching this, like, man, this is bringing the band back together. You know what I mean? Like the saying, like, let's get the band back together, man. That's what this feels like. I think the players, like, in a way, might have that vibe. Pat O'Connor. You know what I mean? Look where Pat's playing Pat's out here on an offensive tackle. You know what I mean? Pat's in the 5 technique right now. Rather than playing nose tackle like he's had to play as a backup nose tackle for us, and maybe he continues to do that. Maybe the Lions move him around now. So you got Pat O'Connor. Next to who? Broderick Martin. And without DJ Reader, Miles Adams, we'll see if he's active. They didn't bring up Chris Smith. Thought would be, I think Broderick might play a solid amount today. I don't think that means he'll start. I think what the possibilities are, they could start Broderick and put him next to Aleem. That's on the table. They could go that direction. They could also go to the direction of, we start Aleem, put him at nose. We'll put him next to Miles Adams / Pat O'Connor. You know, we can kind of go that direction. Then when we go to that second unit, it's the other two. So you could put, like, in that second unit, Broderick Martin, you could put Broderick Martin with Miles Adams. And then you could put Pat O'Connor with Aleem McNeil, right? They could do something like that or kind of variations of it. But regardless, he's probably going to get some tick tonight. And maybe that's 10 snaps, but I think 10 feels like the minimum for Broderick. I think at minimum he's getting 10 snaps tonight because that's what Chris Smith got for us last time we played this team because we just need guys got to rotate. And Broderick isn't going to play. Even if Broderick was that dude, he wouldn't play every snap tonight anyway. You know what I mean? We're going to rotate these guys. Then you also get to, right here, number 50, Mitchell Agude. See, now I'm fired up. I mean, you're looking down a lot. Hey, the band is back together. Look at this. We got O'Connor. We got Broderick. We got Mitchell Agude. What are we talking about? I think this is Broderick, by the way. This may not be Broderick. We're going to show Broderick. This may not be Broderick. The point is, the band is back together, chat. And I'm pretty fired up about this, man, to see what this is going to look like with these dudes out there, man. Now, I wanted to highlight both Broderick and Agude. Specifically Agude, because I'm pretty fired up about how this is going to look, especially against the run. And then, obviously, Broderick against the run is kind of like the big question that everybody's like, all right, how is this going to look? We start with Agude here. And there's a lot of things to like about his game, but I'm not even really too worried about how he gets after the quarterback. I just want to see how he plays the run. I want to see him handle tight ends. Tucker Kraft is a real block. I mean, they are deep at tight end, right? We know that, and they all block. They want to get their hands on Kirby Joseph, that kind of thing. So I really want to see Mitchell Agude in this role on the line of scrimmage, handling some of that Sam position, how he handles it against tight ends. And I think when you see it, you see the aggressive nature that he plays with. You see the pop, the shock in his hands as a run defender. You see there's some good length there. He also plays with a very high motor, yes. High awareness also in his game. We'll show some of those plays. Again, I think there's real limitations as a pass rusher. I think there's things that you like, but there's real limitations there. And then you go to Broderick right here at nose tackle. Now, this is the biggest question mark in the world. I have no idea what this is going to look like. And only the Lions really know. He played 2 snaps last week. They were both pass downs. I don't know what this is going to look like. I will say this. Broderick can definitely get off the ball. He can definitely get off the ball. And we know that the physical ability is there. It's just, how is this going to look? And I feel like with Broderick, like for me, it's always been how efficient is his first step. Right? How accurate is his first step to the run scheme? Because as soon as he falls behind, he's not going to recover in plays. It's not going to happen. And with so much emphasis for him on keeping his pad level low and not propping up and then getting into a spot where teams are running a wide zone, he's got to turn and chase it, and then he's getting pushed off the line of scrimmage. Like, how accurate is his first step? How efficient is he in those spots? Because he can definitely handle combos. I think the big thing with Broderick for me also is how he pairs his hands and his feet. That doesn't always feel in sync. And then you'll get reps where it's like, that looks good. And his hands and feet sync, bam, you'll see a corkscrew kind of settle himself down. You're like, he didn't even get moved. And then there's other times where you see him kind of like fall or like lean over and he gets hands on him, but there's like no shock at all. And you're like, why didn't he move anybody? And it's like the hands and feet don't feel in sync there. So he's not actually creating any force from the ground. He's kind of just going forward. And that's what we've gotten for Broderick. We're like right here, handling a double team. And we know that when he's out there, it's, hey, allow these linebackers to do this, to peek the B gap, step up field, get downhill, right? That's what we need you for. And there was reps of that in the preseason where it was like, all right, he's clearing a gap for somebody. He's clearing a gap. Someone can get downhill. And if you think about what we have, think about our will backers, right? Is Quan Alexander going to play tonight? I told you yesterday that I thought that, hey, if Quan Alexander is healthy, of course, I think eventually he's going to start eating away reps from David Long, and he might end up being a wheel linebacker. I think that's very on the table. Now, maybe that's Jamal. Maybe it's Jamal Williams. I don't know. But I think that's on the table because I don't think Long has played great the last couple weeks. But regardless, either of those two players, throw Jamal into that mix too because you don't want him dealing with offensive linemen. All of these guys have a very similar weakness. They're not going to be stout at the point of attack. They don't have big stack and shed ability. You're going to get up to them and you're going to move them off the play unless they can slip blocks. They want to play downhill. They want to fly around, especially when they're on off ball. And because of that, I'm looking at this saying there's a clear role that you need Broderick to fill. And he showed ability to fill that role in the preseason. At least at times he showed that ability to fill the role in the preseason. Like even here, again, it's not great, but he showed it was possible. Won't happen, but that would be so fun. Okay, I don't know. Would it be pretty awesome if out of nowhere Manu starts over Skipper because of confidence? I liked Skipper last week. I wouldn't even touch it. I mean, I hope that eventually Manu's that dude, for what we gave up there. I mean, I think it most likely just becomes our backup swing tackle. But again, I liked Skipper last week. Like, I have no issues with what Dan Skipper did for us last week. Now, again, this is a better front, but I was actually very optimistic walking away from that game. Like, this dude was, and it mainly stemmed back to run blocking. Like, as a pass protector, he wants to get on guys quickly, get hands on you early, win early. Makes sense. And then as the rep kind of goes along, it looks a little bit rough. And when he blocks, it's kind of weird because he feels like he's doing this all the time because he's so tall. But as a run blocker, he was very effective. And the Lions went behind him a lot. Those stretch run plays, he was effective in that role. So, I mean, I don't want to hate on Skipper. I thought Skipper did fine, last week. And honestly, if he was awful last week, I'd be like, yeah, maybe you're onto something. But because of the way that he played, I'm actually okay with saying, hey, let's give him another week. Let's see what it looks like. I'm in no rush I'm not even in a rush to move him to right tackle. I don't even think that needs to necessarily happen. But you can see like right here, like the whole working laterally with a wide zone run play. That's not going to be great. He's going to get turned in cases like that, but it's just about that first step. What we betting on for the game? I bet the over for points. No missed tackles. Well, we're definitely going to miss tackles, but I hear you. Just don't miss tackles like Miami. Don't miss 20-some tackles. Miss like 6. Miss like 8. Because Josh is going to force us to miss tackles. He literally had like a drive where he had like 9. I think the first drive he had like 9 or something missed tackles. It was ridiculous. Josh Jacobs was insane against Miami. He's a great running back. And just this running style, we're going to probably miss some tackles. Now, I will say, Quan, he's a little bit more sound as a tackler. I do believe that he's a little bit more sound as a tackler. Now, how about Agude? Because Agude right here worked on the right tackle. He doesn't have, I think, a ton of variety. He's definitely active as a pass rusher, but he has this very exaggerated skip club move right here, where he plants inside, skips, there's the club, and then he works the edge. It's very exaggerated, but it had, now that one I thought for sure was going to be flagged. I don't know if it was, but I thought it was going to be. But he has that he had some success with that we saw. And then this was one of the better reps for Reader. I mean, you're going downhill run style here, right? It's a power scheme. They're trying to down block. Let's kick around it. And look at DJ Reader at nose tackle, handling business. He's not getting pushed off his spot. He stays in a spot where he's able to then extend back out. Now watch me work back over the gap into the opposite A gap. Now I'm getting in on the play. Like, that's the spot I feel good about it. And I will say this about this game is Green Bay tends to kind of, my thing with Green Bay, a lot of outside zones, a lot of inside zones. I don't think they stress you constantly with get it wide as we can, hit the sidelines. They're going to make you move. The outside zone is the concern. The inside zone, I'm actually kind of optimistic that he'll handle that. And I think that's kind of their like foundation as a run team is like, we can get to this. And then you got Agude, who, again, I'm focused on Agude for what this could mean for the rest of the season. Like, Broderick, we need him. We need him to play well, and it's like, hey, this is your chance, bro. Put the, I don't know what the saying is, like, pull your pants up or something. That sounds crazy. But do something like that, and do some work this week. Like, this is your time. You won Player of the Week or something in Scout Team. All right, now we need you. And we knew this for weeks. When our backup is Pat O'Connor at nose tackle, for weeks we know, like, okay, that's not sustainable. At some point, we need your help because Kyle Pecco's not here, and he was supposed to be there, but he's not here. Unfortunately, he's injured. And now it's time for him to give his opportunity to do that in a huge game. I'm fired up for him. I'm glad he gets that opportunity. But Agude here, man, like there's an awareness about him. You can see it here. There's his contain ability here, which is going to be nice for Love. Attacking pass lanes just like that. He did the same thing in the Kansas City. I think there's a lot to watch for with him. I just want to roll through some different clips to show capable of. Here on the edge, he's working on a couple of tight ends. But if we go back to Broderick Martin on the interior, like that's where the first step a little bit, then you don't get that recovery to work back over a gap, so you'll get him pinned down, and then he's just not really in the play anymore. This is also when Matthew Betts was kind of working for us a little bit. Like that's good. Again, the downhill style, he can handle that. Again, power scheme again here. Try to down block him. He works back over the gap. Like there's things to like there with the hands. There's definitely some knockback power. He creates a little bit of push-pull wins at times. Sometimes the footwork isn't there, but there's a little corkscrew within this with the footwork a little bit. Like that's not bad. I can rock with that. You know what I mean? I just need him to get that gap free next to him more often than not to allow these small linebackers to just fly downhill and let those guys go make the play. Because Reader hasn't came up with a ton of tackles for loss either. Like that really hasn't been his game. How about Agude here, man? I just want to show some Agude love. Like let's get the hype. Chad, are we not hype? What are we doing, man? We should be fired up about this dude. I'm fired up. Look at this guy. Look at this. He actually got his hand on him. He pulled down part of his jersey on this play. Like, that's what we're getting. Watch here. Work on the right tackle. I think this is Skip Club again. Nope, no, it's not. Okay, look at him set the edge. What? Y'all see him set the edge. Now, this could have been a handoff. You know, it was a read, so the quarterback pulled it. But, like, he could have handed this off. You'll see some of that shock. You see the foundation there. You know what I'm saying? Like, is Broderick active? I would assume he's going to be. If he's not, I'd be shocked. We don't want to have that many bodies. I would assume he's going to be active, but I don't think we have active and inactives yet. But I'm assuming he's going to be. That's why I'm showcasing him a little bit. Again, that Skip Club, it's exaggerated as heck. It can win. It's kind of his go-to, it feels like. He doesn't, again, I don't think there's a ton of variety here, but even here, like, look at this. He reads the swing route, plays his pass rush lane, reads the swing, gets out wide, makes the play. Like, this is the kind of thing that I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, I want to see what this is like. Because I just don't feel like we've gotten a lot there from that positional group. And I think that there's a world in which you're like, hey, the skill set could actually translate a little bit for us. Like it definitely could. Or even here, look at Ty Summers. Backside A gap right here, he's able to fill. So you got the B here, right? We're trying to press one gap to the other. And you got Broderick Martin, who gets on the center early, allows Ty Summers to help squeeze right here. Watch him squeeze through the gap. Now they're aggressive. He's filling fast. That's what we need. This is like literally the play that we're hoping to get, is something like this, right? And obviously he gets the edge. We don't want that. But now this is where the problems have come in. You know, these not really trap runs, I would say, but kind of just these down blocks and times like this, like being able to work over top, or just not having the right, you know, entry point, the right entry angle to deal with that. And then, you know, he kind of gets just knocked out of the play. That's not great. That's not what we're looking for. But even here, you can see Agude. Like, look at Agude here. You see that recovery? Like, bro, he's holding the edge. He's holding the edge. Look at Agude, bro. He's working a couple tight ends. Look, there's the pull. Look at him retreat. It's not super athletic. And you'll see that, like, I think as plays get wide, or like if you'll see like pin down blocks from receivers and it's like a pin pull and he's got to get out there, he's not the kind of athlete from what I've seen so far, like Agude, where he's going to like get back over that block and get out. That's not him. You can even see here it's a little bit slow, but there's still an awareness about him. There's still a discipline level to this. And again, he's sitting there to hold the edge if that's where it goes. And then Agude here with the pass rush win. And I don't remember what this was a stunt. No, this was a screen stop. Talk about awareness. You know, you can feel the block scheme. He holds up with the lineman. He's like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be down here. Let me find that screen. Let me go make a play in space. So now we can trust him in space. So, I'm at that point where I just think where there's a couple positions we could be better. And obviously a lot of it's injury. Like if Barnes was here, and we're not talking about this. If Alex is here, we're not talking about this. But because of where we're at, you give guys chances. You have guys that you like. And I think this is a week where these two guys, Broderick Martin and Mitchell Agude, they're going to get some looks. I think they're going to get some tick in this game. And if either one of them plays well, I think we could see him heavily going forward. Now, that doesn't mean we should overlook Quan Alexander, who is on the active roster. Like I said, I think he could just straight up eat snaps from. Here's how I would kind of do it, right? If I was doing it, I would have Quan mixed with David Long today. If you feel ready about him, if he's inactive, he's inactive. But if you feel ready about him, I'd have him rep and mix in with David Long straight up. I'd have Jamal Adams play on obvious pass down sub packages. I don't know that I mix him in as like a straight linebacker, but I don't know. Maybe Aaron Glenn does that. But definitely on like sub packages, I put him in the spot. I try to play him in more simplified roles so you don't want to get things away. But like he's very good underneath zone coverage. Very good. He's a big time hitter. He'll blow up some screens. And one thing to know about Green Bay, as soon as they get across midfield, if they're backed up, they're probably going to throw a screen. They get too deep state, they're probably throwing a screen. So let him blow up a screen. Let him go make a big play. And then I'd have Mitchell Agude playing some of the Trevor Nowatzki role. I'd put him in that spot. I'd say, all right, Agude, let's see what this looks like. I'd wrap him in there a little bit because I know Muhammad doesn't really do that. He's my pass rush specialist kind of, so I want to see how it plays out, but he's kind of that. He wasn't great against the run last time. We don't have Houston. There's really not a lot of other answers there unless you're like, well, let's put Quan Alexander in that spot. Well, he's not really built for that at all. So I'd give Agude some snaps there and let's see what this thing looks like. So I think all of these guys can play a role tonight in some way, assuming they're all active. And then Miles Adams, I would absolutely mix him in as a defensive tackle. Probably not nose, but I put him outside of guards in this game. I put him outside of guards. I let him pass rush. He's a consistent pass rusher that hasn't had a ton of reps in his NFL career, but year after year when he's on the field, he's a pretty nice pass rusher. He definitely brings that. He brings a super high energy effort, which if I put him out there on third down, I think I might get a little something. But as a backup, I put him as a 3, and I let him go. Does Goody get more looks than Long? That's a good question. I would say... Oh, man. I would say no. Man. Quan played for my Steelers last year. Guy is good, but he plays so hard he's going to get hurt. Yeah, that's unfortunately been an issue with him. Definitely the injuries. I'm sorry, I had an email. That's unfortunate that the injuries are super unfortunate. This is a good question. And you're commenting on the X. I appreciate you, Greg. I would say, man, I got to give you an answer. Goudet playing more snaps than Long. I'm going to say yes because maybe Aaron Glenn goes a little crazy. I'm going to say yes. Yeah. I think Quan gets some looks. I'm going to say yes. I feel good about that. Kind of. All right. So with that, I'm glad we dove into that. I do have clips. Y'all know for if we want to talk some Jamal Adams, we want to get the hype going, we will. I got clips. I got y'all on that. Okay. You already know, you know how we do. We prepared. But I want to move on to the next graphic that I have, which is a staple of these pregame shows. All right. This is just what we do. If you don't know, now you're about to find out. It's the players to watch. Chat, get your players to watch in. I want to hear them. These are mine. These are mine for this game. Let me get this off the screen. I guess it's not blocking anything. Dave Montgomery. I like Dave Montgomery for this game. He was good last game, 17 for 73. Against Packers. He was also really good last game, too, against Chicago. I just like him for this game. I think he fits well. I think you can get up to these backers. I mean, honestly, I think both running backs could have success, but I just love the way that he played, and it's simply based on that. I thought he played so well against Packers. He did so good on his cutback lanes, and he opened up so many things for us that he got off to such a start last time we played this team that I was pretty blown away. So I think Monty's just played this team really well, so I'm going to lean Monty. Frank Ragnow. Frank, obviously for pass pro, him and Glasgow in the same boat. Like years in the past, this would be a problem. They are loaded on interior defensive linemen. And when the Packers know they can rush the passer, especially, then they are a real problem. We got that firsthand in our house last year. We fell behind by like 3 scores, and it was like, oh, snap. This is a problem. You know, we were fumbling, like it was a problem. And that's how they're built. They have guys to do that. But especially on the interior. Kenny Clark is always a menace. I'm never going to do a pregame about the Packers and not mention Kenny Clark. All right, but like I said, I think Slayton's been really good recently, especially against the run. Heck, I don't want to throw Mosby in there. He's made some plays against the run, but he's an edge. But those two, Carl Brooks has been consistently pretty good for them this season, and I think Colby Wooden's really come to life the last few weeks that I've seen. So I think they have a heavy rotation. So both those guys are pass pro, but really Frank for the run game. Really for the run game. Like, he's constantly the guy. No, we don't use Prize Picks over here, man. We use BetUS. Shout out to BetUS. YouTube 150. I use BetUS, man. BetUS been hooking us up all year. We had a little clip, and we'll show them a little bit later. We'll show BetUS a little bit. But, man, I hit on Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to BetUS, man. We use BetUS. Unless Prize Picks is different, but I think it's the same thing. I'm not sure, to be honest, though. But, yeah, so both offensive line. Pass protection is huge, but, yeah, run blocking specifically for Frank. Frank, I didn't think he had a great game last time he played this team. When I was running through my notes, because after I watched the game, go through each play, and I'm like, all right, what did I see? Frank Ragnow, I had him a lot of times for, like, missing a block, blown block, that kind of thing. I think he's going to be stressed a lot, and it's understandable that's going to happen. Also, let's also make this point as a quick side note. This is one of the best, I think, goal line run defenses in football. I don't have a number to back that up. I'm talking like inside the 5. They look incredible. And I think they're tough to pass against, too, because they're extremely versatile. Like, you can get some matchups, potentially, or get holes because they are playing, like, zone coverages in those spots. But it's tough because the windows are all super tight. But I would say specifically, they are a really tough run defense. They fly. So that's where Monty could be huge because Monty's going to have to make some guys miss. Like, straight up, he's going to get one-on-ones. He's going to have to make a guy miss. But specifically, they're a really good goal line team. So Frank moving some people in that spot, there you go. Laporta was a great blocker last time he played this team. I think that was the first time I was like, Laporta's blocking his butt off. Like, this guy is important. And here's the other aspect, just for personnel's sake. I believe the number is 56%. The Lions played 12 personnel. I think it was 12, but it was at least heavy packages 56% of the time last time they played Green Bay, which was the most that they've played this season. And Green Bay matched their personnel on every single look. Now, that being said, for Green Bay, did they go to Hopper, the rookie, or did they continue to go to Eric Wilson without having Edgerrin Cooper, who was one of those guys that I was like, hey, attack Edgerrin Cooper? Do they go to Wilson, which they typically do, who I think is good back? I don't even think it's a downgrade for him. Or did they go to Hopper? Maybe we'll get some looks there. The point is, they're going to match our personnel. The Lions had leaned into that last time. He's going to be on the field a ton. He's going to have to run block for us. But then I also really like him for the pass game matchup. I thought George Kittle did a good job. You could put him out wide. You could find spots. Their zone coverage specifically, I like him and Tim Patrick. As you can see, he's also on the graphic here. I put both those guys on there for that reason. But especially without Khalif, because here's the other thing, too, is that this was a Green Bay team that I thought played a lot more man against us on third down. And I think for us, an answer, it's typically Saint. But everybody knows that. And at cornerback without Jair, they're going to be playing Nixon out wide. They're probably going to play Eric Stokes. They don't have Valentine. Eric Stokes or Valentine, one of those two. Not Valentine. One of those two will play out wide. So Sam Laporta getting that matchup, I like that. Same thing with Tim. I think he's come to life a little bit recently where it's like, oh, this guy's just beating people, especially on the inbreakers. And I think you can work in front of not Xavier McKinney. Yeah, McKinney. I think you can work in front of McKinney at safety a little bit as well. But especially if he starts to roll down, I think you can get those quick passes to Laporta because I don't think he's as natural there. Evan Williams has been a huge part of this team. And you're also going to have Javon Bullard who can play in the slot now. So I like the matchup with Laporta and Patrick specifically, more so maybe than even Saint. Now, Saint's always that dude. So if I get to the one, I'm going to Saint. But just those two as players to watch. Yeah, Valentine's out. Valentine's in. My bad. The names, you know what I mean? The Kentucky guy versus Valentine, who was a Lion at one point. All right, the Kentucky guy. And, man, he's actually been really nice for them. You know what I'm saying? Someone said something about Wilson. Fun fact, went to high school with him. Oh, Stab. Okay. All right. I see you. Who said that? Kid Rapper. Okay. For a sec. Kid Rapper with 3 Ps, 85. I see you. Did they not have Kid Rapper 85 with 2 Ps? Hey, maybe they did it. I don't know. There's a lot of names on YouTube. I get it. Love the stash. This is what I'm talking about. So, hey, mod this dude. How do I mod him? I just mod this dude. I gotta mod this dude. This is what I'm talking about. The hate that I be seeing on Bleacher Report is crazy, dog. That's what I'm talking. See, that's what we're talking about, okay? All right? I appreciate you, man. You know, Bleacher Report's like, oh, you got to shave that thing. You looking crazy. All right, dog. You know what I mean? Hey, my guy, Chevron? Is that your name? Your name's Chevron? Like the signs? That's pretty fire. I'm gonna lie with you. All right, let's go to the other side of the ball. I don't know what I'm talking about. Go to the other side of the ball. Defensively, Carlton Davis. Come on, man. Am I going to the game? Nah, I ain't going to the game, dog. I ain't going to the game. But I am a little early today, so I can understand why you would think that. Nah, I ain't going to the game. I want to go to a game this year. I don't even know if I'm going to go to one. But nah, I ain't going tonight. Agree, big night. Okay, y'all on the Zadarius Smith one. So that one I don't even have to explain. But he's over 1.5 receptions. Yeah, I love that. Smack that, man. I thought Khalif got open a lot against this team last time, but he's not here, so somebody else has to help us. And if they're going to play man, somebody's got to win. Yeah, 2 times. Can Patrick come through? Sure. But I think especially right after catch, he's going to be big in this one because of the zone and early downs. Now, especially the cover 3 stuff, maybe he gets a shot one-on-one against one of these corners and you go double move or something. Like, that'd be fun. Throw a double move. I'm going to go Carlton Davis because I thought he played really well against Green Bay last time. And my one thing that I really think, I mean, both teams might run the ball a lot. Again, this might be limited possessions for both sides unless there's like crazy turnovers. I do think that they're going to test the heck out of our corners out wide. I think they're going to press it one-on-one. I think they're going to push it vertically. So because of that, my assumption is that Carlton Davis and Taron are going to be thrown in the mix a ton. Now, obviously, Taron, you can throw it here to 2. There's no Romeo Doubs tonight for the Packers, but Christian Watson has come to light. Like, Christian Watson's been awesome for them. I just think how well Carlton played, my expectation is a little bit higher for him. I want to see Carlton continue to ball out. Like, if Carlton handles business and it stresses more so of, like, just Terry on, and that's the matchup that they're trying to seek out, heck, I can even send Kirby to just kind of cheat that way a little bit. You know what I mean? But Carlton's played really well. He played really well against this team, so I'm going to put Carlton on here. I put literally everybody that could play, like Will Linebacker, David Long, Alexander, Adams. I don't know who's going to play it. I would like to see Alexander get some looks if he's ready to go. I assume Long will be the starter. And then maybe they mix in Jamal Adams, and we can talk about that more. But I put all of them on here. I think they're all going to be important. I think they're all going to have to make tackles. As someone pointed out, don't miss tackles. Those guys got to make tackles in this game. And then also for zone concepts as well. Like, someone go make a play against this team. I don't think you're going to get many plays from Jack underneath. Maybe he gets some depth and he gets in front of one of their, double post or something. But, like, these little underneath concepts, the stick concepts, like, I want to see one of these Will linebackers just jump it. Maybe Jamal Adams. Just somebody jump one of those things, man. You know what I mean? I want to see someone make a play. We just let it happen. Like, go make the play on the ball. I'd love to see that today. And I think that a couple of those guys have a chance to do it. Even David Long, he's very capable. I just want to see him do it. Muhammad. Can't say his first name, but he's on here. Muhammad was awesome last week, and he has been now a passer specialist. Dude's got 13 pressures on the season. I think he has to be here. Now, if he's out there for the run, that's also something. And against Chicago, he really wasn't because Chicago was in pass mode in the second half. And because of that, he got a ton of snaps, and he did well. But I want to see if that continues, if he continues to go to works pass rusher. This team historically has outstanding offensive line play. They're allowing, like, no sacks this year. So some of that's love. Like, there was a 3rd and 12 play last week where they brought zero coverage. He got pressure, but he got out of the pocket and found an out route, and it was like a ridiculous play. Some of that's him just not getting sacked. But if Muhammad could go get some big wins against Tom or Walker, we'll take it. We could use that because on the interior, I expect Za'Darius Smith to be doing some work in those spots. And then finally, Kirby Joseph. And I saw the chat all talking about Kirby. First off, there's already crap talk between Kirby and other players. I think kind of. I don't know. You guys can inform me. Like, did I miss some good stuff there? But I know, like, Packers players and seemingly fans do not like Kirby. You know what I mean? They don't like this dude. And Lions don't like him either. So I'm excited about that just in general. One of the tight ends were like, yeah, can't wait to get my hands on him or something. Like, I don't even know what that means. Like, what do you tight end, you going to block the safety? I don't know what he's talking about. But anyways, I'm excited to see it. And I think Kirby, outside of all of that, he's going to have to be big time in coverage today. You know, not even like stepping down, playing man, but he's going to have to be big in coverage for that free safety role because they've run so many like doubled concepts that they're going to stress somebody. Now, this kind of goes to everybody. Like, hey, Terry on Carlton, my whole thing is don't get beat over top. Give them 10, 15 yards. Do not let them get a shot play and break the game open because that's what they want. It's like Indianapolis, but way more efficient. Don't give them that, right? Keep everything kind of underneath. But I think because of that, I said it in my preview. If you guys saw, if you didn't see it, you should check it out. It was more breakdown than this. But I would allow Kirby to play aggressive at free safety as the post, and I would have my corners say, don't give up over the top. We're going to have you step down when these things cross your face. So I need Kirby to be aggressive and take one away in those spots potentially, or just be aggressive to kind of say, don't throw the ball here. So I think Kirby's going to have to step down, be a little aggressive today in coverage from that free safety spot. So I got to put him on a spot. I expect at least one scuffle. Oh, 100%. 100%. It was fun though. Like last week against the Bears, man, like they were getting at it. You know what I mean? That felt like a division game. It was like there's some rivalry going on here. And the Packers and Lions, man, St. Brown wearing that sweatshirt, people were not feeling it. They were not feeling it. So all of a sudden, like there's something here. And it's exciting. Do you start E-Man? I would not start Emmanuel. I would start Terrion and Carlton, but would I hate mixing him in if he's like legitimately healthy? Not really. My issue is I don't know where he stacks up. Like, if you told me that this was, like, when we initially signed Emmanuel Mosley, and you're like, hey, and then you also have Terrion, I'd be like, yeah, you could probably rotate those two. Because I thought Emmanuel was our best cornerback on the roster last year. We just never saw him play. But it's been so long now that I'm not even sure what he looks like. But if he looks like the same guy, I wouldn't have an issue with rotating him and Terrion. But I would expect that he doesn't get that look today. But if I'm going to do anything, I just rotate. Because honestly, I don't want to take Amik off the field. Now, if Amik's getting cooked, and we're trying to play man, and that's very possible. The Lions play a lot of man in this game because I think it has worked well against this team. If they're doing that and he's getting cooked by Jaden Reed in the slot or whoever they put there, then yeah, maybe I'd be like, all right, Mosley, maybe you give it a shot. But outside of that, especially if you're playing zone, I wouldn't even touch it, man. I like Amik. Now, the interesting thing about that, just to simplify it, depending on how the Lions are stopping the run, they may not be able to play as much two safeties as they want to. So they might have to limit themselves a little bit more to aggressive cover 4, cover 1, cover 3, and that could put them into more, especially because of their match coverage, more carry the slot. And if that's the case, then all of a sudden Amik Robertson, he's going to get matched up a few times. So they could look at that and say maybe Mosley's the better matchup, but at this point I wouldn't do it. If I see it happening during the game, then maybe we could talk about it. Get Branch on the field. Yeah, don't take Branch off the field. Hold up. I hopefully I didn't say that in there. Don't do that. That's insane. Any notion Jahmyr Gibbs gets the fumble, only getting 2 carries second half is in his head. We need Sonic and Knuckles tonight. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question. I just thought Montgomery was his game, man. I thought it was his game. Well, I thought it was his game because it was Chicago. But then also to that point, like we just didn't have a lot of possessions in the second half too. So I think there's probably something to the fumble, but I just don't think we had a lot of possession. Like the game went by so fast last week, man, where it was like, you know, if we make the one Laporta catch, and we had the one play that was, what was it, like a 3 and out, but like one of them was, I think one was a run. Then we had the drive where we ran it 3 straight times, and on 3rd and 2, I guess we could have went to Gibbs. We went to Monty, but it was a downhill run, so I don't hate it. We just didn't get it. So I don't know. I think we'll see a lot of Gibbs tonight. Yeah, I don't think that Gibbs is in the doghouse. Now maybe for the video and whatever the heck they posted with Jamar, I just saw that. That was goofy as heck, bro. I was like, what are we doing? Chat. What the heck was that, bro? I don't know what that was. But the point is, unless they're upset about that, I would assume we see him plenty tonight. I would assume. I think he'll be fine. Especially indoor, bro. You get that dude indoor, it's different. You know what I mean? It's one thing outside. It's another thing inside. This guy, we all know, like, this guy. And here's the thing, too, is with Green Bay, with the way that they play coverage, with so much of that cover 3, like, you can get him in the flat with somebody. Oh, my goodness. So many big plays could come from him just doing work. You think the success is sustainable with all the injuries? 100%. I think it's overblown. Now I will say this, because I have a graphic, and I'm going to show the graphic because you brought that up. My take on the whole injury thing is this: it depends what we're talking about. Like, to what extent are we talking about? I appreciate you, Detroit Sports Talk. To what extent are we talking about? This would be amazing. This would be amazing. And it's going to be there. It's going to be capable. It's going to be there. But the one thing that Green Bay will actually give you trouble with, and actually Houston in a weird way kind of did the same thing, is that they will go double moves. And I thought what the Lions did in the first half against Houston was different than they would in the second half. I thought in the second half, I think that first interception, they went to like cover 6, if I remember right, something like that. And it was different than what they had done all game. So I thought they shifted, maybe that's wrong, but they shifted what they did in coverage. So this could be similar to that, because Houston would also get you with double moves, but they didn't have Nico. That's typically that guy. Green Bay will run double moves for sure. So you might be able to get one early, and then they may like, all right, let's get out of that. But it also could be the flip side, where it's like as the game rolls along, then that opportunity opens up. But I will say that the injury thing to me is just how we're talking. If we're talking about for this week, yeah, the injuries are a problem. Like, have the lines come out yet? I don't know if the inactives come out. Chat, let me know. I don't see it on their X page. I don't see it. So I don't think yet. What time is it? It's 6:17. We got 2 hours. I don't know when it comes out, maybe like an hour or 45 minutes before or something like that. Or no, it'd be an hour and a half before. Sorry, it'd probably about 15 minutes, 15, 45 minutes, or 15, 30 minutes. But I think when the injuries is how, are we talking about today, or are we talking about for the rest of the season? I think if you're talking about for the rest of the season, it actually doesn't make any sense. To be fair, I think it's a crazy statement, because essentially, and I don't even want to go into all that, but essentially what we're looking at is this, right? Your IR, which is incredibly long, like Buffalo has 7, Kansas City has 9. But we're talking about Rakestraw, who, yeah, hopefully we see him again, but he hasn't even played this season. You're talking about John Kaminsky, who has not played this season, and the hope is actually that we get him back, right? And I mean, Davenport hasn't been here since like week 2. Hutchinson is the one. Like, if you were to tell me, like, because your stance was because of the Hutchinson injury, Lions can't like make up for that, basically. All right, I got nothing for you, because that is what it is. Yeah, you can't replace Hutchinson. We tried with Za'Darius to get some help, but you can't. So I get that. But if you're just saying because of the accumulation of injuries, I think that it's a crazy discussion. Outside of you're saying like for this week, how bad. Now, hopefully, with a little bit more time off after this game, Josh Pascal and Levi are back. I mean, that's what I'm at. Like, hey, hopefully these guys, same thing with Decker. Like, hopefully these guys are just back. But yeah, like for the entirety of it, like it doesn't make sense. Pecco barely played. Wingo was a third string for us anyway. Anzalone should be back for the playoffs at worst. Derek Barnes, we know he's out for the year. Again, that's been for most of the season. Same thing with Jalen. Mel Rodriguez is now out for the year. So the one position that it's truly actually hit is linebacker, if he hasn't even played this season. And then Khalif Raymond, he's kind of a gadget piece. He's had some good stretches for us this year, and that's fine. He fits his role. But the real thing is linebacker, and I don't dislike what we have at linebacker. And that's also the reason, because it does hurt, but knowing that Anzalone's coming back makes me, it's not as concerning, because I also know that, like, yeah, he's coming back. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have him for that playoff stretch. But specifically, it's also the reason why Quan Alexander, to me, should start getting some looks. You don't have to go like, oh, he's replacing Long, but give him an opportunity to see what it's going to look like. Give him an opportunity to see what it's going to look like. And then from there, we can make that decision, because that's the one spot that's kind of just like truly up in the air. The defensive line should be fine. Pascal, Levi, this shouldn't be long-term. I hope not, but it shouldn't be. We're discussing them as day-to-day. You have Za'Darius. So for the most part, I mean, Reader like popped up with the shoulder. So as long as those aren't super long-term, this feels like it's more of like a this week conversation, but the national outlook is like, well, this could derail the season. But it's like, wait a minute. We're kind of conflating this is an issue for Thursday, no doubt. This is an issue for today, versus this is also an issue for, like, can you win the Super Bowl? Which I think they're two different things, two very different things. And if the argument is like, well, because you could lose tonight and not win the division, like, okay, that's fine. The season's going to come down to, regardless, essentially the season's going to come down to how we play Minnesota, unless Minnesota starts losing games. I mean, that's probably how this is going to go down. But I would also say this to the Packers side of things. This is like the Packers' opportunity. If the Packers lose, they are not winning this division. You know what I mean? Like they would essentially need us to lose out, or they would have to win out and we'd basically lose out. Like the division's pretty much over for them if they lose this game. So they're trying to stay in the race. If we lose this game, we're now tied with Minnesota with already the win. So it's very likely going to come down to ups in Minnesota if we lose this game. That's kind of where this is at. The only thing that then becomes the conversation is the 1 seed, truly. That really then becomes the conversation, because still talking about a home game, but then the 1 seed is the conversation, which I don't know how the tiebreakers would actually work out. Then we'd be at the same side as Philly, and then we'd have to see how it plays out. But that's really what it is, because I don't know for sure, but I thought that if the Lions finish with the same record as Philly, at this point, they'd actually have the tiebreaker over Philly, which, by the way, throw this out there. This is also a game for the playoffs. Lions win, they actually officially clinch a playoff spot. I mean, they're going to, you know what I mean? But they officially clinch a playoff spot if they handle business today. So, yeah, hammy. He had a second hammy injury, which is not good because he's had to deal with these, and that's what he's being listed as for Rakestraw. And I actually don't know exactly when it happened, to be honest, but yeah, that's what he's dealing with right now. But you can see, like, Kaminsky, remember, they made the move to make sure that they could get him back by the end of the year. Hut the same for the Super Bowl. Anzalone, San Fran would be 6 weeks. So, like, I think we're going to be okay. Slight edge with tiebreaker right now. They have the edge with tiebreaker. What is the tiebreaker? Is it like a... I don't even know, to be honest. I guess we'll get there. But, yeah, like, that's the one thing is the 1 seed. That's the one thing for sure is the 1 seed. But outside of that, I mean, we're talking about if the Lions win tonight and Philly then plays Minnesota, hopefully Minnesota loses... Or not, Philly plays Minnesota. Minnesota plays Atlanta. Hopefully Atlanta finally handles business. Maybe you create some separation. But Green Bay absolutely needs this one. Philly would get 1 if he beats us. All right. Oh, because Philly beat Green Bay. Wait, because the common opponents? Is it a common opponent thing? Oh, it's a conference record. Okay, that makes sense because we lost to Tampa. And they have Green Bay. Who's the other one? Oh, and Baltimore. Yeah, because Baltimore. Well, yeah, then I guess. And the thing is with Philly, they got a pretty easy schedule. Outside of 2, they play Pittsburgh, which I definitely think they could lose to Pittsburgh, right? They play Pittsburgh, and they have one other, I think, kind of tricky one. They have basically like 2 losable games, I think, left, to be honest, right? They have 2 losable games. Let me just real quick, side note, right? They play Pittsburgh in 2 weeks, and then they play Washington the week after. Like, that's a tough 2-game stretch. They could lose one of those 2, I think, for sure. I think for sure they could lose one. Carolina, they're probably going to smoke them. They could definitely run the table, but I think it's going to be those 2 are the ones that are losing. I guess maybe Dallas if they're still. I mean, Dallas is still kind of alive a little bit. I don't know if they'll be able to beat Philly, but they're. And then I guess the Giants are coaching for their jobs, so I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe they do something amazing, but I doubt it. As long as they sweep Green Bay, if they lose tonight, you have to count on someone to beat them. It's common opponent. Got you. Okay. And that would also make sense for conference record because then we'd have 2 losses in conference. They'd have 1, and then they would have to, lose another game because we do have the better record. So then if it was like, hey, if we lost tonight, but then we ran the table and they lose any other game, we're still getting the 1 seed, like in that sense. So I wouldn't say we need this win. I don't want to call this a must win. I think it just depends on what you're looking for. If you want the 1 seed, you probably should win this football game because to Ed's point, if you lose this, shout out to Ed, 8499. Let's get some birthday cakes, chat. If you lose this game, then it's you don't control your own destiny. And Philly doesn't have they have 2 losses in their conference. I think they have 1 though, right? Because it was Baltimore. No, they beat Baltimore. What am I talking about? They beat Baltimore. What's their other loss? So it's strictly common opponents then? We haven't played any other opponents that are the same? All right, I don't want to go down this path because now I'm confused. I'm straight confused. All right, just win tonight. That's what it is. Win tonight. All right, chat. Appreciate you, Ed. I appreciate you. If we lose tonight, what would you guess the reasoning for the loss? If we lose tonight, I think the reasoning for the loss would be, number 1, we would absolutely get hammered in the run game. We'll get hammered in the run game. We'll fall behind early, probably by 2 scores, and we'll have a turnover. I think that's the formula for us losing this game, is Josh Jacobs runs for about 5.5 a carry, which I think is possible. He has a great run game, very possible where we're at, and because that's what they're going to lean on. And the Lions will have a bad turnover, which may be the difference because Love isn't turning the ball over recently, and in a game that could be short possessions, 1 turnover could be the difference. So that'd be my guess, because I think it's going to be high scoring, is that would be the way that you lose a game like this. That's how I think it would go down. And right now the spread's super close in this one. I'm still pretty confident, though, to be honest. Like, the Josh Jacobs thing concerns me the most because I think they can run the ball well in this game just because of where we're at. I'm still pretty confident. There's a stat that I had on one of these other graphics, and my bad with the confusion on the playoff thing. Like, we'll dive into that again. I think the tiebreaker is strength of schedule. Oh, it's strength of schedule. Is it strength of victory or is it strength of schedule? Because I know that's the thing too. They got strength. So they lost to Tampa Bay too. Oh no, we lost to Tampa. Wait. L2 Atlanta and Tampa. Philly lost to Atlanta? Okay, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. All right, Atlanta, I see you. You know what I mean? I see you. But anyways, yeah. Jack Campbell, this was according to pro.nfl.com, has an 18.8% run stop rate, which is first in the NFL, but is by like a legitimate margin. 18.8%. It's ridiculous what he's done in place. What he's done in place of with the linebacker position. When Lions, coaching staff like hypes him up like they are, I think that's a big reason for him. Like I put it on this graphic right here. Campbell. And I was trying to kind of break down the whole injury idea, but it kind of fits together with everything. Like Long has only played 25 snaps for us, or he played 25 last week. Sorry, Neiman played 4 last week. You have a guy like Ezekiel Turner, who's basically just kind of the sub package piece for us. I wonder if maybe they'll kind of implement more run stuff, but he's kind of just been a sub package piece. So Ezekiel Turner is another one to watch. Like, does his role expand or does it kind of go away? Like, he'll be another guy, especially with Jamal Adams, where I could see the Lions saying like there's just not, because I think Ezekiel Turner is kind of replacing Jalen Reese-Maven right now. That's kind of the vibe that I get. So what does that look like with Jamal Adams entering in? Because that could be like an easy like kind of flip right there between those two. So what does that look like? Same thing with kind of Ben Neiman. Ben's not really playing much, but he's always been a nice coverage piece, though I don't think he's a playmaker like Jamal Adams is very capable of being, especially in underneath coverage. So I don't know. I just wanted to put that together. I don't know how it works. ESPN say they got a tiebreaker. We'll go to Philly if Minnesota beat us. If Minnesota beat us. Oh, if Minnesota beats us? Or are you talking about Green Bay? You're probably talking about Green Bay. Okay. No, I appreciate that. That makes sense. We'll definitely have to dive into that more. But hopefully when we do dive into it, we're in a good spot. You know what I mean? We'll dive into that after this game. Not right after this game, but going forward. Because to me, my whole focus isn't even on the 1 seed. I don't care if we get the 1 seed, to be honest. I don't even care. I mean, it'd be great. It'd be fantastic. It'd be great to have a bye week. But to be honest, I don't think I care too much. I just want to see us win the division again. I want to see us get that home playoff game again. I don't have an issue with having to go on the road for a playoff game. Like, I think we could win on the road in a playoff game. But if we had to do it every game, it wouldn't be ideal. Now, most teams, are kind of in a dome anyway. So if you're like, oh, you got to go to Minnesota and play. Like, all right, we can go to Minnesota and play. I got no issue with that. But it'd be mainly you have to go to Philly. You know what I mean? So it'd be unfortunate, but that's what it would be. Yeah, I definitely want the bye. And I want the bye for guys like Alex. You know what I mean? Where it's like, give him a little extra trying to get back. Hopefully, I definitely want that. Or Kaminsky, I want the bye. Don't get me wrong, I want the bye. But for me, it's like, I just want to, you know what, but the crazy thing is, if I was sticking to, and I'm about to go to some clips here, my expectation, or not expectations, but what I wanted preseason, I didn't even care if we won the division, to be honest with you. I was just like, I just want to go to the playoffs again. Because I feel like as long as this team gets in, like, it's hard. Here's the thing. I think game by game, the Lions, it's rare to see a spot where they're not putting themselves in a great position coaching-wise. They're coached so well that a game by game, they're going to have a really strong plan because they can play different ways. Doesn't mean they'll win every game. Obviously not. Sometimes they just don't play well. But they'll usually they have an opportunity to play a lot of different styles. So it's hard for me, like game by game, where it's like, as long as we're in that dance, I'm pretty confident that we can get there. It's just, that would certainly be like, oh, if you had to continue to play away and away, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for 3 straight games. But, like, I think we could win in Philly. You know what I mean? Can we outrun? If DJ Reader's back and we're playing in Philly, like, y'all don't think we could beat? Yeah, we could beat that team. You know what I mean? Like, we could play the same style they're playing. Like, I don't have any, I don't know. But anyways, I just wanted to get in the playoffs. I just wanted a shot at it. So right now we're doing way better than we're doing. Like, I don't remember what my preseason prediction was. I think it was 14-3, which is actually really possible now, which is crazy. But they're actually like they're in a way better spot than I mean, even like was like, oh man, I hope we get there. Like, this is insane what they're doing. But it's sometimes, people make the case the bye hurts you. It's like, hey, you put the bye in there, then all of a sudden it's like, you got a week off, you're not playing as well. So Quan Alexander, I showed these plays before on a video, but Quan Alexander, I want to see him get some snaps. You know what I mean? Because I think Quan at will should get looks. Like, he's a very consistent tackler, but he's much more patient. He's got a more patient style, I think, than David Long, but he also has some of the similar attributes right there where he's quick to read the run scheme, to diagnose it. Even here wasn't too bad. Kind of shielding off the blocker, getting in a spot to go make the play, zone awareness, as we see there. And he's a very capable zone coverage piece, just not a matchup guy, but very capable of zone coverage piece. And you see the patience. And then Jamal Adams. And Jamal Adams is the fun one. Now, again, I don't think he's a matchup piece necessarily. I don't want him on slot receivers. The guy ran a 4.56, and it shows. He feels a little bit heavy, but he doesn't have many fall steps, and he also feels very smooth in his transitions. Like, you'll see it in his hips. The way that he opens, he's right here. He gets under plate. Like, this is where I love him. 2 deep safeties, put him down in the box like a backer, and let him play underneath zone coverage. This is where I love him, man. He's a playmaker there, and I feel like this will give you more than what a backer would typically give you in a spot like this. That's kind of the vibe that I'd get. I mean, he is matching up man to man with some of these dudes. He's giving up the reception. It's not as pretty, to be honest. He's not as I wouldn't say he's as twitchy in these spots either. It's not as natural at the catch point, but there's a lot of physicality in his game. You definitely can't deny that. He plays super physical like this, where he's hitting guys, and he just reads it fast, man. He reads it fast, but he can get beat over top because he's very aggressive. And then also as a blitzer, that's also something that I kind of forgot to bring up. He brings us that, which I don't think that we've really had. Like David Long, he gets David Long can get after a little bit. Trevor Nowaski doesn't create much pressure. Iffy, we know, is an elite blitzer. When you put him in the game on dime package and you put him in there instead of a backer, and the Lions like to blitz those guys, but they also like to spot drop. If that guy's Jamal, say, rather than, honestly, Jack Campbell, like, I think what Jack does well, obviously, is play zone. You can kind of put him in the middle of the field. He can kind of cover backs and stuff, but that's not where the Lions typically use him. But I think what we're seeing right now is, like we saw last week, where they would put like Ezekiel Turner on the slot, but then they would kind of bracket him with Jack, and that takes away any of the inside help. So now he's kind of 2 guys on 1. So in that spot, if you could just put Jamal on the guy and just let Jack float in the middle and be that rat linebacker, then it's like, all right, now you got a little bit more freedom there. But also at the same time, like, still, you'd probably like Jamal in a lot of those matchups a lot better. But I think there's a strong case to be like, he's actually a better blitzer than any of those other linebackers in those spots. Like, he could actually bring a lot more juice than those other backers. And then, obviously, he's got a huge willingness to hit. He just can't have these ugly tackles where he's kind of just throwing himself at people. That's the problem. And I think it's a big problem when you're a split safety, when you're throwing yourself at people and you're not making a clean tackle. You are the last line. You can't be just throwing yourself and having 15 missed tackles on 40 tackles. That's a problem. But he'll definitely step down and hit with no concern. And that made him capable in the box. And then, of course, Jonah Williams. I forgot to talk about Jonah Williams. I had clips in here on Jonah. Yeah, Jonah Williams might play tonight. Maybe. Maybe he plays a little DN tonight. I mean, who else is going to do it? You're going to have Sedarius. And I would assume that you're going to put opposite of him Ogude, maybe some Muhammad. But Jonah Williams, if he's up tonight, he could rotate, especially if Green Bay goes like 13 personnel. And it's like you're putting a 0, you got a couple 3s out there, and you want like a big DN. Jonah Williams actually could get some run in those spots. I don't know that they'll use him as a sub-package piece. I don't think he's a great pass rusher. I don't think he's great. He's got a little, flexibility in his game, though. So there's a little variety. He gets skinny well, maybe better some other. He can run stunts, that's for sure. He could definitely help us in stunts. But he could get out there and help us run defend a little bit. I think that's where he's consistent. He's a very consistent run defender, and you see that here in the contain. And this is kind of similar with Mitchell Ogude. Like, these guys can help us in the run. And I think the Lions know clear as day, like, this team's going to try to run on us. We have to be able to handle business here. We cannot be getting smoked in the run game, and hopefully we're not. Hopefully that's not the case. Quan unretired, a great Will Harris number. The great Will Harris number. Wait, for real? Wait, what number was Will Harris? Oh, Will Harris was 20. I don't remember what number. 33? No, that ain't right. He wasn't 33. Like 5? Wait. Well, I don't remember what his number was. Hey, shout out to Will Harris, man. I love me some Will Harris. I don't remember his number. Jay, y'all remember Will Harris' number? I don't remember. 25. Oh, okay, that's right. That's right. 25. So he's wearing 25. 25 is kind of like a linebacker. 25 is kind of like a linebacker. Like, that's a beautiful number for him, 25. And Will Harris was the hitter, too. So, you know what I mean? Like, if you put that jersey on, you got to hit somebody. I'm honest. Like, I know there's a lot of people that aren't believing in Jamal Adams. And look, it may not bring anything. But I do believe that I watched all these guys, right? I was going through. And the funny thing is, the last player, is while I was watching these dudes, my phone, Jamal Adams signed. I'm like, what? Jamal? So I see that, and I'm like, all right, there's going to be a lot of hype. I'm not going to be hype. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, come on. What are we talking about? Jamal Adams, really? Where are we at in this dude's career? This guy's trying to play a linebacker and stuff. And he didn't have any snaps this year. He had like 60 snaps with Tennessee or something. I was like, all right, this is just going to be bad. But then I started watching. I'm like, all right, wait a minute. Why is this guy available? like, there's something different here. He can. I understand it's not like he'll make some bad plays, but he makes some amazing plays. We're like, wait a second, that's different. There is a difference making ability there. He's capable of that. Maybe CD Deuce had a little bit out of him too, like a little bit of a difference making ability. And remember, Iffy, as much as we called him like the matchup piece, and as great as he was a blitzer, he wasn't great when he stepped down in man coverage. I don't think he was terrible, but he wasn't great. I think Kirby's gotten a lot better, and I wish, if he was healthy to keep getting better there. But he wasn't like outstanding. It was like he was shutting down dudes. Like guys would still go at him. So Jamal, he doesn't have to be elite in man coverage to be impactful on this team. And I really do think that I think he's going to be helpful for us. I really do. I didn't think it'd be this soon. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but I think in time he's going to be impactful. Let him get out there one time today and just light up Tucker Kraft. Wouldn't that be amazing? I like Tucker Kraft though, but I'd love to see it. Maybe Adams can shadow Jacobs. Hopefully he's decent to cover. He can definitely cover a running back. Like I don't doubt that. But Jacobs will also makes him miss, so that can't be the thing. But we got to avoid that. You know what I mean? Quan's wearing 10. Oh, that's clean. Okay, that's clean. Yeah, he's playing tonight, dog. You know what I mean? He's playing the night. If he's wearing 10, he's playing the night. That's where we're at with this. Want the 1 seed for the bye. We can play anywhere, but would be nice because week 5. No, that's facts. That's facts. Definitely for the time reasons. But like knowing Dan. Like, Dan isn't that kind of dude. Like, we saw last year. Like, we could have just sat everybody. Dan's like, no, we're playing. We're gonna give us. And to be fair, there was a chance we could have moved up and got the 1 seed, but it wasn't likely. It's like, we're playing. And it's like, all right. So, Dan, I think Dan would love to buy because then he's forced to not play versus, like, a game where it's like, okay, maybe they shouldn't play. But I don't think Dan would have an issue if it's like, nope, we're running right to it. Because he legitimately probably thinks the playoffs have started right now. This guy's built different. And as a player, it's like, I think there is that. It's like, I just want to play, man. I'm trying to play. We're trying to compete. I don't even care. You know what I mean? Like we're playing football. You don't get to play many of these games. Let's run it. So I think there's just an excitement there regardless. I think Dan eludes that, man. Exudes that. Eludes, that's the complete wrong word. I'm sorry. Eludes is not it. Eric Ebron retired after failing so hard. Oh, man. All right, that was an unnecessary comment, Antonio. I don't know where you got Eric Ebron from. That was an unnecessary shot. I'm going to be honest. That was uncalled for. But you did it. You did it. Time for another star to be born. Let a good star be born today. Honestly, I think Quan could cook. If Quan gets out there, Quan could cook. I think I didn't just put Will linebacker because I don't know who it is on there. I put it on there because I really do think that position is going to be involved a lot today. I think that with the amount of like cutbacks that you get, like you have to be able to scrape down the line of scrimmage. You have to be able to find these runs as they extend. You can't be missing tackles once he gets up to the second level. And especially if the Lions do some like slot blitzing, try to be aggressive, especially towards that left side, because that's where they like to lean on is Elton Jenkins and Rasheed Walker. If they try to lean that left side, we are trying to slant off that. Like our linebackers being able to split gaps, get upfield, make a play. All of those guys, I think, are going to have multiple opportunities to make plays, and especially the underneath concepts. I want to see someone do something. Just give me a pass break underneath. Do something amazing like that. How many OSOL fans do you think we're going to be the watch party after making a mistake? Over under 12. Hey, I mean, as long as they're watching, I'm okay with it. There is going to, you know how it is, man. There's always, shoot, the guy I be watching with, be getting into that mode a little bit. I get it. I understand it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. There's some same old lines. It is what it is, man. But I don't think some of that is even changeable. Like, if that's just your mindset, it's your mindset. You know what I mean? You're not a believer until you see it. So, like, I feel like those fans could see us win a Super Bowl and come back and be like, don't know about this team, man. You know what I mean? Like, it just is what it is. Like, all right, that's just how it is. I'm the complete opposite end for the most part, where it's like, wait a minute, I think we could win the Super Bowl. It's like, hold up, bro. We're 5-7. I don't know if we can. I think we can. So, I get it. There's two sides to this. But there's also two sides to BetUS. Stop. That didn't make any sense. We tried. Two sides to BetUS, I guess, because there's a live betting and there's a pregame betting. And right now, y'all were asking me, what we betting on? Well, look at this. Currently, the Lions are now -3. Does anybody know what the spread was the last time we played Green Bay? I feel like it was like 7, and we were in Green Bay. That could be wrong, though, but I feel like it was a bigger margin than this. Now we're at home. The injuries, people are I've heard a lot of people are jumping on Green Bay. They feel so good about Green Bay, and the Lions now -3 makes it interesting. But if you want to get in on it, the over-under's moved up since I have put the bet at 51. I think we go over for this game. Now it's at 52.5. I'd still be fine with rolling the over, but that one's getting a little bit tighter. But the 3 points is super interesting, man. That's a super interesting line. I think at this point, man, this thing is getting tighter and tighter, man. So if we were to bet, let's say we bet $20, what would we get? 17.39. That's interesting. So if you want to get on that, man, use YouTube 150 as your sign up bonus as your code to get a 150% deposit match on your first deposit, 125% on your next two, up to $2,000. Do you think we will still play man-to-man tonight with all the injuries? Maybe less pressure up front. I still think so. Yeah, I still think so. I mean, it depends on the situation, of course. I think on third down, absolutely. No, I think that Glenn did a good job last time we played this team where, say it was 3rd and 2. Instead of going like, some teams would go like cover 3, he would go like Tampa 2 in coverage, right? So he would really shake it up. But I still think so. I still think he'll lean man coverage on third down. I think last week he didn't, which was fun against Chicago because it made sense. I think this week he will. I think because of the flip side, his cornerbacks are healthy. He trusts those guys in man-to-man. And I think that we've had some success against it. Now, I don't know they're going to be dropping like 6 passes that they did, so I think they'll be more successful as well offensively than what they were last time, because last time they just dropped like every pass. But I think he feels good about that. I think he likes that matchup, and he'll blitz out of it probably. Because my thing was like, hey, either play cover 1 and leave some help underneath too, because they're going to create these levels, or bring everybody. And I think we're going to see some cover 0 in this game, especially on third down. I think he'll be running some 0 coverage. And we may be forced to a little bit more because I don't want to call it man, but there's going to be, I think, a heavy amount of match coverage. So I think going hand in hand, I think we're going to see a lot of that. I mean, it's not technically man, but I think we're going to see him kind of go hand in hand because I think there's going to be a lot of match coverage today, just like there was last time we played this team. Maybe he changes it up completely, but that'd be my assumption. Let's go Lions, sincerely a Texas fan. I see you, Caleb. I appreciate you. Hey, by the way, as a Texas fan, I have y'all in the Super Bowl this year. Before the season, I'm not just saying this now. Before the season, I had y'all playing us in the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know if that's going to come true, but that's what I had. So I believed in y'all. Still do. We are so much better at man-to-man than zone. We're really good at man. The Lions, statistically, I think it's second highest man coverage rate according to Pro.NFL, about 47%. Also saying that the Green Bay Packers run the ball about 47%, according to my Packers guy Bass. So I think that's interesting too. So just to that point of like they're going to run the ball, they're going to run the ball. Lions got to find an answer for it. Could be a lot of single high safety early, or just an aggressive quarters look. But at the same time, the Lions have also allowed, I think it's like the 4th highest tight window passing rate when in man coverage. So they're very good in man. But I think last week they showed they're really good in zone too. I think zone just has clear issues. And I actually think in zone coverage, unless you're blitzing out of it, zone coverage could actually be a bigger issue if you're not creating pressure with your 4. Because there's going to be a spot that eventually is going to get open. And especially if Jordan Love is doing things off script. I think that we may see some zone blitzing. But the interesting thing is last time we played Green Bay, we didn't blitz much at all. We actually pulled way back on blitzing. So do we continue to pull way back on blitzing, or do we flip it a little bit? I think that's the interesting aspect with all of this. Is does he continue to go the route that he did? Because I think that especially with potentially less pressure, which I don't want to fully say less pressure because Aleem was the guy that cooked last week. We didn't have last time we played this team, we didn't have Za'Darius last time we played this team. You know what I mean? So it was different because our offensive line was a little more beat up. They had Morgan in that guard. Today they're going to have Sean Ryan healthy, so they'll be, or he was actually, I think, playing center last time, but they'll be healthy on their O-line, even though their interior is not great. So I think a lot of those guys that could still win are actually here, but I don't even remember where I was going with this. The point is, I think we could see some zone blitzing in this game. I think that's on the table, because I don't think you want to get caught in an in-between game. Now Texter Cook, the sophomore slump, hitting Stroud really hard. I still believe, man. I don't trust a lot of those teams in the AFC, so that's the reason. I know Buffalo look good, but I don't think there's like major gaps in the AFC. But that offensive line is a problem. And I don't know if y'all got like people coming back or not, but hopefully y'all do, because that's a disaster. I'm going to be completely honest with you. That's a disaster. Excited to see the new vets. Fired up for it, Josh. Fired up. We rolled through some clips. I think they have Jenkins at center and they kept fumbling the snaps in the rain. Yeah, I think that's right. They put Ellen Jenkins at center. Yeah, that was a nightmare for them. When they got to that spot, it was a nightmare. And then Jordan Love couldn't like bend. He couldn't bend down and get it. Hey, they were going through it. They were going through it. We're gonna outscore the pack. The no pack, no. Hey, I'm with it. That means a win. It was really good quarterback. He's just having some more slump, but maybe I'm coping. Look how he played last year. Hey, he was good last year. Lions vs. Eagles NFC. Everybody's on the Eagles now, man. Everybody's on the Eagles. Which I get. I mean, coming into the year, I had us playing the Texas Super Bowl. I had us playing the Eagles in the NFC Championship. So I get it. I think I had us in the NFC Championship. I know I had the Eagles like the second best record, but I think I had us playing them in a chip. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out, man. But let's see if they put the inactives out. because I think that's the last thing that we need to hit on here. We kind of hit on everything else. I want to see if they dropped an inactive list. AFC Bills versus Chiefs. Ooh, I don't believe that. Oh, inactives just dropped. I don't believe the Chiefs are getting there. Here we go. Inactives just dropped. I'd bet Houston be out. I'm crazy. Emmanuel Mosley is inactive, so he's a healthy scratch. The D-line are not playing. KO'd out. This is interesting, too, because this is like the second or third straight game where no KO'd, but Christian Mahogany's active. Shout out to Christian Mahogany, man. Taylor Decker's out. Okay, we knew that one. Giovanni's out, so they're going to roll Skipper. Is Jamarco Jones on the 53? He may be on the 53 now. I think Jamarco might be. And then Emmanuel Mosley's a healthy scratch again. Kind of understandable. Yeah, I mean, like we were just talking about it. Like I don't know where he would have played it because I'm definitely not starting him. If he would have been available for me, he would have been a backup because I'm not taking any of my guys off the field. But like you would have Vildor and Dorsey, Branch. I think that's a numbers reason because if we're looking at this, that means that the Lions have Miles Adams active, Quan Alexander's active, Jonah Williams active. All these dudes are active. All these dudes are active. You know, and then so Mitchell Agude. So for that means that the Lions have a lot of bodies that because I mean they got 3 out. They're going pretty heavy. Jamal Adams active. They're pretty heavy at linebacker / edge now. Coming in this one, Broderick Martin's also active, which is great. I think we'll see him. I think that's kind of a numbers game there. It's like, do we keep the 6th corner? We'll call him the 6th corner. Or do we kind of just roll a little bit differently? And also at safety, Lauren Strickland was waived. We still have Brandon Joseph, so he's the backup. So if something happened, they probably just kick Branch down and put Brandon Joseph at safety. That'd be my guess. But I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for Mosley to find the field. I don't know. Maybe after like the 10-day break, maybe he can find the field. Maybe. I think it's going to be hard for him to find the field unless something like an injury happens to somebody else. Or honestly, we get more time. I don't know because I just don't know what he looks like. I have no idea. Like I think he's a good player. I just don't know what he looks like. And like I said, he'd be coming in as a backup anyway. And it's just kind of tough. Like, do you like if I said like okay? I mean, I guess you could have said, well, just take Vildor or Mosley out, or not Mosley or Dorsey out. But it's like you'd probably prefer to have one of those two because you kind of know what you get. If you put Mosley in there, and then all of a sudden, like I'm not saying this, but if he got hurt, and it's like okay, well, hold up, like. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that'll happen. Like, I'm rooting for the guy. I don't know. I don't know when we're going to see him. That's the problem. I don't know what the timetable is, so I'm hoping we see him soon, but I just don't know what it's going to look like, and I don't know when we're going to see him. I love Strickland. Shot the Strickland, making the team. I think they're going to try to get him back. I think the initial reporting was like they're planning on trying to bring him back as long as they can to the practice squad. Can mostly get 150. He might need to gain more than that, to be honest with you. Hope Broderick Martin can help stuff the run. We need him. We need him, man. And we actually watched from Broderick Martin before we got this thing started. I think there's things that Broderick can do. He's going to struggle in some spots. I think he may struggle with the outside zone, but as long as he's efficient with his first step, man, I think he can help us a little bit. He could do enough. But I'm excited to see Miles Adams too, man. Miles Adams can get after it. I want to see what he's doing. You know, what he's creating as a pressure piece in this game. Who's the opposite edge? I think it's going to be Agude, but it's also like I guess it just depends on how you're playing your front. You know what I mean? Like how many guys you're actually putting on the line. I think Agude is going to play kind of the in-between role there. I don't know. Maybe here, let me do this. Maybe we can kind of show it. They probably don't like what they see with E-Man. I don't know, man. I mean, because they were kind of hyping him up like, yeah, he'll be good to go. So I don't know. Loved your video and the newcomers. Hey, I appreciate that. Jorge or George. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm assuming it's Jorge, but I don't know. Appreciate you. That video did well. I don't know why it did so well, but it did pretty well. I tried to keep that one shorter too. Y'all noticed that? I was like, ooh, 20 minutes? Come on now. Usually that kind of video would be about 60 minutes. You know what I mean? That video would be about an hour and a half. But it was 20 minutes. It was 20 minutes. That's great. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would assume it's probably I would say this actually. Take that back. Here's what they might do. Here's what I would think about doing. Because we talked about Agude. I would put Jonah Williams at the end, opposite of Zadarius. I know he hasn't been here long. I put him opposite if he's ready, and then I put Agude at that Sam role. Now, if he's not, put Agude in that spot, and then because he looks like he could actually kind of handle tackles, and then just roll Zadarius Salim, and then if you want to go Connor or Martin next to him, But I would get Jonah Williams in there early and often. I'd be playing Jonah. Like that's why I don't know how Jonah's going to be here long term. You know what I mean? I don't know how he's going to be here multiple weeks going forward. But I would get him out there immediately. If he's ready to go, I'd put him out there this week, and I wouldn't have an issue with starting him. It's Terrell Williams. This is a game. Oh, he's got to get some. He's got to get absolutely. And I guess we'll see where some of these dudes are at. But that's what I would do, bro. I would start Jonah, or at least heavily rotate him in. I could get him looks early. Do you think Smith will be tough for them to stop? Smith, I think it'll be tough. I think it'll be tough on the inside, but we got to get them in those situations. I think at tackle they're pretty good. He might get a couple wins there. He really has to help us against the run, but I think on the inside they're really good on the inside. So that's going to be the big challenge, or not inside. They're really good at tackle. They can lose. I don't think they've been as consistent as in the past, but the opportunities that he's going to get in the inside, I think is going to be a problem. So as long as we get him opportunities there, yeah, I think that'll be a problem. But we got to get to those spots. How many games do you think the Chiefs will lose? I think they're losing to the Chargers. I would say they probably beat the Steelers, Texans. Ooh, they could lose a couple of those, Caleb. I'll say they lose. The Browns are interesting. I'd say they lose 2 of those. I'll get them 2 of those 5. I want to go more confidently more than that because they do find ways to win, but I'd say 2. Offense needs to ball out. It does. Here's the Packers. They put ours on here too. Jair Alexander, okay, we know that. I don't think any of these are surprises. Yeah, Romeo Doubs we knew. Jacob Monk, hey, chat. Jacob Monk's out. What are we talking about? Yeah, none of these other ones are surprises. They're at cornerback. They're going to have Valentine. They're going to have Stokes. I think it's been more Stokes recently, but they'll probably just roll those 2. And then, opposite, they'll have Nixon, and then they can put Bullard in the slot. They'll put Williams at safety. Edgerrin Cooper, probably more Eric Wilson, maybe a little bit of Hopper, the rookie. And then Romeo Doubs. They're pretty deep at receiver. A lot more Dontavian Wicks. He's been good. Secondary can just can cover just 1 extra second. We will get pressures. 100%. 100%. But it's going to start with stopping the run for sure because they're going to lean on that, I'm sure, heavily. And this is an offense that I think man coverage allows you to get more pressure. To the question earlier, and here's why. Because some of their concepts are specifically going to be zone beaters unless your linebackers are flying like crazy. That's why I'd love to see him make a play early, or unless you have like a simulated look where you drop it and then like someone steps it away. By the way, Green Bay runs a lot of simulated pressure. So if they're going to use a third down, doesn't mean they're going to blitz. They're not a high blitzing team. They do a lot of 4-man rushing. They don't create a super high pressure rate. I think it's about 22%, but they do a lot of simulated pressure. So if they got us in third down, they're going to do a lot of that. Bring somebody, drop out, linebackers rushing. Quay Walker will blitz. McDuffie's a good player. Quay Walker will absolutely blitz too. So keep an eye on that. Without Cooper, he can do that too sometimes, but they'll probably do that a lot with Quay Walker. The flip side is, though, I think the Lions can force them to hold the ball by playing some of that man coverage. I think they can force them to because some of those concepts will get the ball out fast, and because some of them are just like straight half field, either here or here, and then he can go from the short to the long. If you can get him to go from short to long with man, which is possible, that's how you can kind of create that, which we've seen happen. It puts more stress on the secondary, but yeah, that'll allow the pressures to come along. So stop the run, because I think on third down, you're going to have more opportunity to sit in man than you will on first down, where I think we'll give it a little more zone looks. Ben Johnson is the coach's butt off. He's been on a heater, man. He's been on a heater. He needs to be again for sure. But he's been doing the thing, especially in the run scheme. Like last week, doing all the stretch runs, it worked perfectly. We had talked about that. I thought the stretch would work well. It worked amazingly against that team. And yeah, he's going to have his handful. This is a super talented defense. He's going to have his hands full, but he's indoor, so it should give him the benefit. He's in his house. I think you're migrating your fandom to Detroit if you're on this strip. That's all right. Hey, Caleb, look, man, you a Texas fan? We got the Texas shirt on. You know what I'm saying? We good. Caleb could be a little bit of both. It's both. It's cool with me. How much does Green Bay's inactiveness affect their team tonight against the Lions? I think that not having Jair affects them, but that's kind of normal for them. I think Edgerrin Cooper doesn't hurt them too much because I think it'll just go to Wilson. I think they'll be fine. I mean, you get a little bit less of like the sideline to sideline crazy speed, but I think that'll be fine. He might not Hey, this is a team you can run screens against. You can get up to the linebackers at the second level, run blocking and screens. That could be where you feel the loss of Cooper. I think you can actually block up Cooper pretty well at the point of attack, but because Cooper will make some negatives, maybe that's where you feel it a little bit. Definitely helps us against screens. I think cornerback probably the most, just because Jair's not there. That's their guy. Nixon's not playing wide, but that's what they've been dealing with. And then Romeo Doubs just, I think, puts more stress on Dontavian Wicks to win because what Watson is. Jaden Reed is still Jaden Reed. He's had some drops, but he's still Jaden Reed. And then it's just what is, Wicks going to do? And I think Wicks is kind of like To me, Wicks is kind of like a swing piece on both sides. You know what I mean? Like, is he going to stop is he going to block well? They like to use the receivers to block. That's been a huge part of the run game recently. I think the Lions should dominate that matchup. That's an underrated matchup to watch, how our DBs handle their receivers blocking. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. What about Muhammad at end? Didn't he play great last week? He was good last week. I don't love him against the run. That's my issue with it. I don't think he's great there. I don't think he's really built for it. But if we get them into pass downs 100%, I wouldn't even be looking to take him off the field. But yeah, he might have to. He just might have to. That's where we're at. You're going to have to help us a little bit. And look, I don't think this is like especially if he gets a lot of Zach Tom, like if we can put him on that side where he gets to see the right tackle, I think he'll be okay. But I don't love him against the run. That'll be the biggest thing. So if he's doing well against the run early, leave him in there, fine. But we got to stop that first. Because Bass, the Packers guy, brought up that they only run the ball 1% less than us, and we know we run a lot. 47% of the time, may even be more tonight, they're going to run the heck out of the football. They're going to run the air out of the football. So whoever stops the run, I think Jonah could do that. That's why I'd have him in early. But whoever stopped the run, go to that guy. Welcome, Caleb. Nice to have a fan that's not a troll. There you go. Okay, Mike, how you doing, Mike? They have BB at like 7th in Pro Bowl votes at safety. That's insane. I hate the Pro Bowl, man. I absolutely hate the Pro Bowl. I hate the voting. I hate all of it, man. I mean, I hate all these awards, to be honest with you. Donnie, what's up? By the way, Bum, yeah, no Mosley yet. Hopefully soon. Is Caleb Williams better than Jordan Love? No, I don't think so. Could he be? I think so, yeah, but right now, no. Could he be? Yes. Right now, no. Read it, finish it. I ain't reading that, Mike. I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I'm not reading it. I read it to myself. I read it out loud. I don't know what you're talking about. I read it to myself. Yeah. If we could, I mean, too, I think we would. I like that. It's a good, just be in the game. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? Just be right there, being striking distance. That's what it is. Hey, how many Green Bay fans we got in the chat? If you're a Green Bay fan, let me know. Because we're going to move on to score predictions, and then we're going to get out of here. I'm going to prep for the live stream. We'll be back over here, watch party. What time does the game start? 8:30 or is it? It's probably 8:15. Jamal Adams is active. Come on, man. Y'all need to stop playing. I got to figure out what the exact... 8:15. Yeah, 8:15. 8:15, we'll be live over here. We're going to be live reacting to the game, so join us again. Let's get the score predictions in the chat. Should we blitz Jordan Love majority of the night since... under blitz, he's been terrible. I would not. I think he's been better recently. I would not blitz him a majority, but, I would say this. Aaron Glenn didn't blitz him much last time we played him. So take whatever you want from that. But when he did, he was 3 for 10 for 23 yards. I think some of that's elements. I wouldn't blitz him a majority, but I would have no issue with going zero coverage on third down. And I would also have no issue with some zone blitzing in this game. Second down and long, zone blitz, that kind of thing. I don't know that I blitz a majority, though. I don't think first downs I'd be blitzing a ton. You know, I don't think I'd be going crazy on first down. I think I'd be a little bit more don't give up the big play kind of deal. But I think you can play mix of both. Don't give up the big play, but also blitz. Just be willing to give up the medium concept. Don't give up the big play, that kind of thing. But I don't think on early downs I'd be blitzing like crazy. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm a fan of Green Bay losing. Facts. Green Bay sucks. Okay, so no Green Bay fan. No, that's good. That's I want to check. GPG. Go Pack Go. Okay, I was like, I don't know what that means. All right, not a lot of Green Bay fans. I got you. All right, I want to see. You know what I mean? We had some people talking about Green Bay. I think this might be a Green Bay fan. I don't know, though. This might be terrible language. I don't know what my man's saying here. Enrique, I appreciate you joining, though. I just can't read that. Well, maybe I can. Hold up. Let me try. El Lion. The Lions in France? The Lions in France? What? No, that's not Francia. Francia doesn't mean France. This is a bad word. Hold up. That don't mean France. I'm about to look it up, though. Hold up. Francia in English. Come on, stop playing. Oh, no, it does mean France. What? Oh, it does mean France. The lion in France is, I don't know. It was France. Hey, what does that say, Enrique? That is it. That does say France. Maybe it has a different, conjugation. I don't know. How much this affect the screen game? I think he's good on screens. I like Dan Skipper on screens, man. Anytime he gets to go chase people, I'm pretty optimistic with Skipper. So I actually like him on screens. It's a good question. I actually like him there, and I like screens a lot in this game. He may have trouble connecting with guys and being able to sustain anything, but he can run towards guys. He'll definitely give you the right effort. He just may not sustain much. But I like him in those spots. I would have no issue running the screen to his side. Quan or Jamal make an impact today? I would bet more on Quan because I think he'll more likely get more snaps. But Jamal, as we go forward, he's going to be big for us. But I would bet Quan. I think that will back our position. Whoever's in there needs to play well. I think at this point, the offense better have a big day. The thing is, this isn't a bad defense, man. It's not a bad defense. It's not a great defense. It's not a bad defense. I mean, what are the numbers on this team? I hear what you're saying. Man. I would love to see it. But here's the thing, we have to play efficient. And they don't get ran over in the run game. So we're not going to be able to just do that. We just have to be efficient. We can't be in drop back passing because we're down by 10. And if we look at them on the season, where do they rank out? I have their rankings. Some of their rankings. They are allowing... Oh, I don't have their rankings. Hold up, I lied. Oh, wait, no, I do. No, wait. Yeah, they're allowing 4.2 yards per carry at 106 yards per game. And pass defense is allowing 16 touchdowns to 11 picks on a 90 pass rating. But they're also allowing a 67% completion percentage. So be efficient passing. And hopefully we get a couple big plays out of the run game. Hopefully create a couple explosive. Because I feel like the 4.2 to 106 is kind of what we did last time we played this team. Hopefully the difference today is... Without that, Jahmyr Gibbs gives you an explosive because you're indoor and it's not crappy weather and he can go break something. That could be the difference in this one. That could be the thing that shoots this up because, if we're running 3-4 yards carry, I'm okay with that. But if we can be efficient passing, high completion percentage, which they allow, then you'll kind of limit the concern, which is the fact that they take a ball away, and that's specifically McKinney, who does that at a ridiculous rate. Patrick TD coming. I like that. I think it's a one-score game. No matter the score, both teams still think the Lions sneak out the dub, though. I like that Juice Talks football. I'm with you on that. Do you think we get the ball and receive then? No. I think we decline against this team. If it was like a walkover defense, yeah, but I don't think so. Kirby or McKinney, who's getting the 8th pick tonight? Kirby, yeah. I would definitely bet on Kirby. Kirby's going to get a pick tonight. He's going to be aggressive. So the Bears fight the Texans for tackling Caleb, but they don't fight the Lions for tackling Caleb. Honestly, do you mean like on the sideline? Because they kind of got mad. Ours was on Caleb. I don't know what Caleb was doing. You know what I mean? He did that to himself. But I hear you, I guess. I think I hear you on that one because you're right. They were upset on the sideline, but yeah, they didn't start fighting anybody. I don't think. Does a fumble on Thanksgiving play in Gibbs' head or is explosive? No, I don't think so. I think he'll be fine. Look, Gibbs fumbled once before that. I don't think he'll be shook. Gibbs feels like he kind of has that personality of everything's good. Everything's great. Just give me the football. He feels like he has a very joyful play. I think even Goff said it. He's just so joyful the way he plays the game. Build his confidence back up. Give him the ball early. He'll be all right. I don't think it'll be in his head. I think he'll be flying around. And he does the fundamentals well. He holds the ball the right way for the most part. He blocks the right way. You'll see it. I think he'll be fine. You just got to play to his fundamentals and don't think. You can't have that guy thinking. You just need him to play fast because he is fast. Play fast. Let him be joyful. Let him have fun. Do something tricky with him. You do that, I think he'll be okay. Oh, that's weird. I can actually see how many people are viewing on X right now. That's pretty fire. I didn't know I could do that. Captain Jack gets a pick. That'd be amazing. I wouldn't bet on it, but I'd like it. I like it. Bears scared of the Lions? Everybody is. You know what I mean? The defense on the field, first on that crowd, will be ruckus. Fire. Yep, facts. If Decker and Hutch were healthy, it's a lot easier to win. Oh, no doubt. I don't deny that. Lions' biggest game changer tonight is that crowd. Oh, I like that, man. It should be going crazy in there. No fun tonight. It's all business. Doug, get out of here, Doug. We're having fun, Doug. He said no fun today. All right, Doug. Whatever, man. Whatever. Just... Doug, I know Doug be watching the game with no volume on. Doug, what are you talking about, man? No. We'll trick play shout for today. Who's involved? Man, who's involved in a trick play? Kevin Zeitler. No, I'm playing. That'd be crazy though. We did say maybe a fake extra point. Give me our guy that missed the extra point last or the field goal last week. Give me I said Jesse Bates. Give me Bates. Bates is a trick play today. We tried a fake punt last time because it was kind of predictable and it didn't work at all. Fake extra point. Get him throwing the football a little bit. Not with no volume. Man, hey. You know what I mean? What are you doing, man? Doug, what are we doing? I spelled the deflections coming from Jamal Adams. Hey, we just signed Strickland back to the practice squad. Oh, for real? That just happened? All right, there we go. I'm happy about that. That was quick. How many false starts tonight? Is that even allowed, or did he have to get waived? How do we do that? How many false starts tonight? Crowd is going to be crazy. Ooh, I like that. And this is a team that will do that. Now, the flip side is Broderick Martin will also jump offside. I'm pointing that out. He will. So, one on both sides. I'll give him 2 false starts. We'll jump offside once. That I'll give you that. Because they have the normal center. What's everyone eating? Ooh, I don't know. My man eating cheese. Oh, I like that. Okay, I see what you did there. We don't lose in the blueberries. We ain't wearing the blackout uniforms. All right, we're in the blueberries. That's cool. What up, D-Ray? I'm cool with that. Man, shout out to everybody that joined. I saw you guys. You were putting your score predictions in there. I read through a few of them. Oh yeah, they did. They did sign Lawrence to the practice squad. Okay, bam, made that happen quick. Welcome back. I'm glad he's back. Everybody's getting fired up. We got about an hour till the game. I'm blackout for the Bills. Oh, okay, no facts. That'd be clean. Is that prime time or no? It's probably America's game of the week. All right, well, chat. Hey, Goff nominee for Man of the Year. We had a Player of the Month this week, which was Jake Bates. Now he's got to do a fake field goal. How early does Love throw us an in? I think he throws this one late. I don't think it'll be early. Actually, no, take that back. I think you're right. He will throw it first quarter. First quarter pick. Kirby's going to jump something. And that'll change the game completely. Blackout's the 15th. Oh, they list these out. I didn't even know that. I thought it was just red. All right. Hey, all right. I'm with it. That's probably is, but yeah. All right. That is the Bills then. How do y'all know these things? Who breaks these news? Do the Lions post these things? Nah, y'all got the inside info. What are you more nervous about, linebackers or D-line? D-line. I'm not worried about the linebackers. D-line. I'm worried about the D-line a little bit. I don't know what that's going to look like. I know what Aleem's going to do. I don't know what any of the rest of it's going to look like. But I'm cool with linebacker. I think we have good linebackers. I just want to see who plays. I'm more curious about who plays than nervous. Are you team elect or defer? Oh, I'm always defer. Always defer. Team always defer. But the Lions, it depends on the game probably. You know, there's certain games where I think you want to receive, but I'm always defer. E-Man not going. Yeah, E-Man inactive. You know, Terrion's back, so he'll be good. We have our starters out there. Muhammad going to eat. I like that. 30-23. Victory formation. Oh, we're going to put the V's up. I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know if people say that, but that's the thing now. Yeah, okay, chat. I got 30-27. I'm going to stick with my prediction. 30-27. Lions win this. If y'all want to bet on it, YouTube 150, that's the promo code. Hey, they gave me this little graphic. I showed it earlier. If you guys are just joining, run it back. We showed clips early. I talked about Agude and Broderick Martin. What do I think about the Kraft comment? I like Cover Kraft as a player. I think he's talking crazy, and I think Kirby's going to make it pay for it. That's what I think, Nathan. I think he's going to make it pay for it today. You know what I mean? But they'll be coming at it. It'll feel like a rivalry game. I love this graphic. What? Hey, I actually have another one of these too, but I think this one's cool. So, yeah, there you go. Odds boosting. Odds boosting. We must stop the run. Yes. Any team that runs at 47% of the time and probably today over 50? Absolutely. What's more likely, Campbell int or Goff rushing TD? Campbell int. Campbell interception. No doubt. No. Well, no, take that back. Goff touchdown. Goff touchdown because they're so good at the goal line that the easiest way to do it might just be simplify. I'm going to say Goff touchdown. Goff touchdown is more likely. Lions average 33 at home. 38 at home. My goodness. Well, if we do that, we're winning. If we score 38, we're going to win. You get the Packers too much. 31-21. I hope I am. I usually do underestimate us. But 30-27. Nathan, I appreciate you, man. Everyone subscribe. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everybody being here, man. Shout out to everybody on X. I see our comment. I think they're showing up. If you're on X, man, throw a comment in here just so I can see if it pops up. But outside of that, that's our preview / prediction. If you're just joining, roll it back, man. We showed some things. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's live stream. We're going to be live over here in about an hour time to be live to react to this game, man. So join us. This big one. And then right after the game, if you don't have the Bleacher Report app, download it because I'll be live over there for 30 minutes to talk about this one, man. Shout out to everybody that supports in those. That's fun. Hold him less than 90, we blow them out. Yeah, I'm with that, actually. I think so, too. I think we should. If we hold him less than 90, I think that's a good take. I think that's a great take. I appreciate that. And Roundtable's expanding. Nathan, I can't give the details, but we are expanding. I'm actually working in the background, kind of getting prepared for that. But we are expanding. We're expanding the Roundtable. So keep supporting that. It was a lot of fun. And the host responsibility, it's fun, man. I enjoy it. I appreciate everybody that's like showing love that I'm like hosting now, man. Best win ever for Stacks was 40-0. I remember that so well. Thanksgiving. We had the safety in that game. I think it was Sue that had the safety. Ooh, that was so good. I remember where I was at watching that safety. I remember where I was at, man. That game was amazing. It was 40-0. You're right. I think we were up 16-0 at one point. I'll see y'all at the live, man. I appreciate y'all donating YouTube 150. We out of here. Appreciate everybody joining, man. Keep joining, man. We y'all showing the love on the live streams. I'll keep live streaming. Y'all seem to like these. I like doing them. We out of here.